One day, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saw a dream. He told his companions, "Last night, angels came to me in my dream. They took me into Barzakh. We reached a place. I saw a man on the floor, lying down on his back. Another man was standing above him with a huge stone. He threw the huge stone and crushed the other man's head. He would then go to pick up the stone, and by the time he got back, the laying man's head was restored. And he would continue this action. I asked the angels, who is this man? And why is this happening to him? The angels told me to move on, to move on. I then passed a man who had a hook in his hand. He placed the hook in another man's mouth and tore the side of his face. He did this to both sides of his face repeatedly. I asked the angels, who is this man? And why is this happening to him? The angels told me to move on, move on. After this, I reached a man who was swimming in a lake of blood. Another man put stones in the swimming man's mouth and made him swim to the other side. He did this repeatedly. I asked the angels, who is this man? And why is this happening to him? The angels told me to move on, move on. I reached a place where we saw men and women who were unclothed inside a huge burning oven. They were hanging in there and the fire kept burning them repeatedly. I asked the angels, who are these people? The angels told me to move on again. We then saw a beautiful tall man with a white beard. He had youngsters running all around him in a beautiful garden. I asked the angels, who is this man? And who are these children? The angels told me to move on. We then saw a group of people. One side of their face, the most beautiful I had ever seen, whilst the other side was the most awful I had ever seen. These group of people walked to a river, bathed, and then suddenly their whole face was the most beautiful I had seen. I asked the angels again, who are these people? They told me to move on, move on. We finally came to a man with a revolting face, and he did not smile at all. When I asked the angels, who is this? They told me to move on. Finally, I said to the angels that I saw many strange things tonight. Explain these things to me. The angels then informed me, the man having his head crumpled by a huge stone was a man who used to sleep past his prayers deliberately. The man having his face torn by a hook was a man who used to spread lies and rumors about others. The man swimming in a blood of lake with stones in his mouth used to take interest. Riba. The men and women in the huge oven were those who used to commit fornication and adultery. The group of people who bathed in a river and became beautiful were those who did not have enough good deeds to enter paradise. The beautiful tall man with a white beard was Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And the youngsters running around him were those who died before reaching maturity. The man with a revolting face who did not smile was the guardian of hellfire, Malik. He has never smiled since hellfire was created. The treatment one receives in inner space, Barzakh, is a reflection of one's deeds and actions in this world. If a person was an obedient slave of Almighty Allah, he will be entertained with royalty. If he was anything to the contrary, words cannot describe his ordeal.